Conference on Indian Handloom and Handicraft, Sustaining Cultural Heritage. The dignitaries for this event are Professor Dr. Vandana Narang, Dean, Academics, NIFT, Shri Akash Devangan, Director, NIFT Kangra, Professor Dr. Anupam Jain, Professor Dr. Malini Devakala, Ms. Pankaja Sethi, our keynote speaker, Mr. Bala Siddhartha, our former director, Shri Dinesh Kumar Rangra, Joint Director, NIFT Kangra, Shri Saurabh Chaturvedi, Campus Academic Coordinator, NIFT Kangra, and of course, the center coordinators of all the departments, joined by the entire faculty and staff team of NIFT Kangra. Situated in the Kangra Valley, overlooking the beautiful Dhauladhar Himalayan ranges, the Kangra Center started its journey in the year 2009. On this very day, in fact. Being here, ladies and gentlemen, we are a part of history in the making. This is the first ever on-campus national conference that is being organized by NIFT Kangra. The foothills of these majestic mountains create a wonderful backdrop for conversations on creativity, conservation, and sustaining of crafts. This setting, along with our sector-specific keynote speakers, our August jury panels, our friends in the industry and press, hopes to be a confluence of thought-provoking ideas in the interest of the handloom and handicraft sectors. On this note, I request the audience to please rise as we seek the blessings of Devi Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. I request our director, Dean ma'am, Malini ma'am, Anupam Jain sir, and Bala sir to please light the lamp.
तुषार हार धवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रावृता या वीणावर दंड मंडित करा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माश्रित शंकर प्रभृति भी देवै सदा वंदिता सा मा पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेष जाड्यापः नमो 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 सरस्वती माँ नमो 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 सरस्वती माँ सरस्वती माँ सरस्वती माँ।
Thank you, dignitaries. Thank you, audience. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all to our beautiful campus in this first ever academic event of this scale. We went from concept to academic event in less than 6 weeks, and it would not have been possible without the cooperation and support of all of our participants and the NIFT leadership, both at the central and the campus level. I request our director, Shri Akash Devangan IRS, to please come up on the dais and welcome our august audience.
Good morning to all. Really, the lighting of lamp and the Saraswati Vandana has instilled a lot of energy, positivity, and the Vak Devi ka jo vidvatta hai, that is very apt to the institution and to the occasion, because today is the occasion where first ever the NIFT Kangra is going to organize its conference on Indian Handloom and Handicrafts, sustaining cultural heritage. We have a journey of, in the journey of academic institutions, the journey of 14 years is not too long a time, because academics, the knowledge and the vision of humanity is from the ages, since the ages. So on this small journey of 14 years, today we are organizing first ever conference of such repute and level. On this occasion, I would like to welcome all of you in the place. I would like to welcome Dr. Vanna Narang ma'am, Dean Academics. I know how busy she is on day-to-day affairs in the NIFT matters at the central level in head office. So it's a really thanks a lot, Dean Madam, to grace the occasion. I would like to welcome Malini Divakala ma'am to present here as a jury for the occasion. I would like to welcome Pankaja Sethi ma'am to be in the place as a keynote speaker. Balasiddharth sir and the Anupam Jain sir, most welcome to the place, and thanks a lot to come in the place and grace the occasions. Let's start our journey. The next 2 days are going to be very thought-provoking for all of us. We will come together, we will discuss together and come out with the better solutions, better academic practices and better views. Last 5,000 years we are here, and slowly we are developing, our civilization is growing, and in those 5,000 years, coming with the new ideas, coming with the innovative approaches, coming with the new designs, coming with the new concepts are really challenging. I always think, even when we thought in the engineering also, the size of chip, it's going to saturate. But every time a new technology comes and it takes away the things. When on the verge of the depletion of unconventional sources of energy is there, when petrol and diesel is being depleted in the entire world, we are talking about the battery. We are talking about the electric vehicles, and with again there is a challenge of lithium and the availability of lithium, but there are many other avenues which can happen, like hydrogen can be a source of fuel for the next generations. The similar way, the new concepts, the new designs that are always welcome, and these are the platforms which provides us opportunity to ponder, to discuss and move forward. Thanks a lot to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those warm words, sir. May I please request that the dignitaries be welcomed, please? Thank you. Professor Dr. Vanna Narang, please. Miss Director Shri Akash Devangan, IRS. Miss Pankaja Sethi, our keynote speaker. Dr. Professor Anupam Jain. Dr. Professor Malini Divakala. Mr. Bala Siddhartha. Thank you so much. Creative integrity and dignity for artisans is a worthy goal that all of us who are enthusiastic of the craft sector strive and commit to uphold. On this note, I'd request our Dean of Academics, Professor Dr. Vanna Narang, to please address this audience.
Good morning, everyone. I actually was not prepared for this speech. I was asked by director to give this note today morning. I really don't know who the audience is, but if you are from NIFT, then I'm sorry, I'll be repeating some of the things which you might know. If you're not from NIFT, then it is for your information, a short journey of NIFT. NIFT has made its mark as the fashion institute. We are known as the #1 institute for the last, I don't know how many years. Fashion industry is known by NIFTians. But what quite a few of you may or may not know, that NIFT has done something substantial for the craft sector, and this is not just by chance, but this was one of our mandate. When NIFT was established in 1986, Mrs. Jaikar's one thought was that we should do something for sustaining our crafts. I have read the original report which was prepared by FIT for NIFT, which was more fashion. But Mrs. Jaikar's vision was substantiated by Professor Edward Newton, who was from Nottingham and Trent Polytechnic, which was what is now known as NTU University, was then called Nottingham and Trent Polytechnic. They had envisioned that NIFT will be able to do something for the craft sector. And I'm very happy to see so many NIFTians doing so well in the craft sector. Our Honorable Minister of Textile in February had a meeting with NIFTians. It was 27 NIFTians who are working in the craft sector, NIFT alumni working in the craft sector who are doing substantive work. I could have invited about 200 alumni, and that would have been less, but we had a restriction. We were doing an online meeting, and he wanted only about 25 or 27. One day, the meeting was with the global heads, NIFTians who are global heads of various institutes, and the second day was the meeting with NIFT alumni who are working in the craft clusters. And I'm very happy to share with you that he was very, very happy to see our inputs in the craft sector, but he has given a task to all NIFTians. And that is that somehow or the other, we have to come up with ways that the craftsmen can earn 1,000 rupees more every month. And that is not a very big charge. That is not a very big task. If you are from a big city like Delhi, Bombay, or Hyderabad, Bangalore, you spend practically that much for having a cup of coffee with friends. So 1,000 rupees a month for a craftsman, if we can figure out a way, it'll be great. I was talking to Pankaja, who's your keynote speaker today, and I will let her share her story. But she shared a very tiny thing with me, that how she did crowdfunding to help the craftsmen. This is COVID times. We have all gone through a bad time. The world has gone through a bad time, but our craft sector has suffered a lot. In order to keep our craft heritage intact and sustain it for our next generation, what we can do towards it is what we are looking for from all of you in this conference. And with these words, I will take your leave, because I think you are all waiting to talk and listen to the people who are really working in the craft sector. I am not. I'm an academician, and I've been an academician for the last 38 years. So I don't want to go on and on, because it's a peril that you keep on talking once you are standing in front of a room full of people. So all the best to everyone, and thank you, Team Kangra. Especially thank you to Director for inviting me. It's a pleasure to come to Kangra every time. I had never had the opportunity to visit Kangra as a faculty or as director, but as a dean I came about 6 months back for their convocation, and now I'm back again for the conference. So it's my privilege to open the conference open. All the best to the Kangra team, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we wanted to make this conference that, a very, because it was our very first event, we wanted to kick off with a bang. And we were really, really lucky that Ms. Laila Tyabji consented to being a keynote speaker. Laila ma'am is somebody who actually has absolutely no need to be introduced in this sector. But we're sorry to announce that due to an illness, Ms. Laila will not be able to join us today. While she is somebody who doesn't actually need an introduction, I shall attempt one, however a short one. Laila ma'am is an Indian social worker, a designer, a writer, and a craft activist. She is one of the founders of Dastakar, a Delhi-based NGO, which has been working in the space to revive traditional crafts of India. She has been honored with the Padma Shri Award in the year 2012, and is obviously one of the highest civilian awards that an individual can get. Laila ma'am, we're sorry, we really miss you. We wished you were here with us today. She has very kindly sent a message for this event, and I invite my colleague, Ms. Deepshikha, to please read it out to us.
I read out the letter that she sent. This is what she says. I'm so sad not to be with you all today. I'd been looking forward to it for weeks. The National Conference on Indian Handloom and Handicraft in Kangra is an appropriate occasion to recall that handcraft and handloom are one area India is supreme in the world. Its multiplicity of materials, techniques, motifs, and traditions are a unique cultural, aesthetic, and economic goldmine, its full potential still untapped. To successfully maximize this potential, we need innovative, imaginative, and holistic solutions. The 4 themes of the conference, connecting communities, curating crafts, creative interventions, and customizing markets, are important pieces of that jigsaw. The pattern is incomplete unless they interlock together. Other pieces of the jigsaw are providing craft people the tools of professional design, entrepreneurship, customer information, and investment and making them partners in the process rather than passive pairs of hands. However skilled the hands, unless the head and heart are also in harmony, the result is imitative and one-dimensional. I hope that your discussions over the next 2 days are fruitful and will transform into inspiration and a plan for action. Students today are the designers and entrepreneurs of tomorrow. Whether craft not just survives but thrives is in your hands. I send you my warmest best wishes, Laila Tayabji.
Thank you so much, Deepshikha. Like I said, ma'am, we're really sorry to not have you here, and if you're watching us online, we miss you. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our next keynote speaker, Ms. Pankaja Sethi. Ms. Sethi is a textile designer and textile artist and researcher. She has exhibited her work in the Nairobi Summit, which was organized by the Southeast Asia Junction, Bangkok. She has been the recipient of the Ministry of Culture Fellowship in 2018 and 20, has been a TED speaker, is very, very interested in research, and her research areas include the bark cloth of Mahima, the Kotpad natural dyes, and is somebody who has actually been selected for the first Asian Feminism and Transnational Activism EVA Global Empowerment Program. A huge proponent of this industry, it gives me immense pleasure to call upon the dais Ms. Pankaja Sethi.
Very good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Anupam Jain, and he taught us, and I'm here, and he invited me, and I'm very, very happy to be part of NIFT Kangra National Conference. Thank you, NIFT Director Vandana ma'am, Manini ma'am, for inviting me. So I want to start with NIFT. I studied at NIFT New Delhi, and after graduating from NIFT New Delhi, I was working in Delhi in export houses, designing cushion covers, bed covers, linens. And after a point, I realized, when I was designing that it's not motivating what I'm doing, and because as a designer, we're basically like a mass production person who is basically making volumes of collection. And I thought I'm not made for this, I'm made for something better, and I wanted to make a difference. And then I got a chance, 2005, to visit a small village called Jarmundi in Jharkhand to work with Santhal women. I went with a Canadian folklorist, Dr. Sky Morrison, and that small village gave me a big breakthrough. I realized how Santhal people, they didn't go to any design institution, but they had They didn't go to any design institution, but they had inherited the craft. They had strong narratives which they were narrating on the textiles. And I saw the power of Santhal women, their ability to visualize and translate those ideas onto textile. And that moment I thought, I'm coming from a design field, very decadent space, and look at the artisans, how creative they are. And that time I wanted to, take a break and come back to the craft sector and do something useful. 2006, I decided to come back to my state, and the first area I wanted to visit was Dongria Kon, the Adivasi. They make the Kapra Gonda textiles. And I was again told that it's a very, very remote area and you can't go there. And I said, if you have stopped me, I'll definitely go there. And I started my challenge. And from that day, I didn't stop. I'm still on the move. So what I will be sharing is basically exactly not in the chronological area, but basically going back and forth from different states and different craft communities. So Dongriya Kon, the Adivasi, they live in Niyamagiri in the Raigada district of Orissa. Here, this was basically my first interaction when I learned human relation with the environment, how basically nature is very, very close to the Adivasi people and how it reflects in textile and material culture. And I also learned, when I was working with them, there's a language beyond design. And I thought basically there's something more which I want to know, there's the narratives which I want to know. So this is the Niyamagiri Hills, and this is very, very, very high hills and very remote areas. And Niyam Raja, basically, he is the god, he is the nature god, and Dongriya Kon believe that he created them and they are the children of the forest. And what they have is because of the Niyam Raja, the nature god. They also believe that the god and goddess created by Niyam Raja lives in the trees, lives in the stream, and they are always being protected by the god and goddess. This is me in 2007. I basically climbed 3 hills to reach one village. To meet one of the artisans I had trained in 2006. She is Jhakri Kudi, the village goddess, who lives in the center of the village and protects the village. And here, the sacrificial ritual happens in front of the Jhakri Kudi. The Meria festival, the buffalo sacrifice, also is basically being done here. So you can see the patterns. The patterns basically represent the hills, what is their basically strong belief. Here, they are the women priests, which is called Bijini in their local language. They are possessed, and they are dancing in the honor of basically nature god, and they are asking basically to protect them and to bless them. This was also an image from the village when they are preparing for the festival, making leaf plates. So you can see the textiles, the saris, the way wearing the jewelry. These are some of the scenes from the village. Dongriya Kon woman winnowing basically rice. Some images from the village again. This was my workshop in 2006. And I remember when I was thinking, because they're making such beautiful textile, as a designer, why should I introduce something which is unfamiliar to them? But how do I basically create a conversation? So I basically said, can we make a bag in your design so that you can carry that bag in your Haat Bazaar? They said, yes, we can do it. So I said, can we make a small pouch in your design so that you can take that pouch, keep some coins and go to the Haat Bazaar? Now, yes. So can we make a belt in your design so that they wear a waist belt? So can we do that? So they said yes. So that was a conversation which I built. I didn't want to basically impose something because they were very, very basically strong about their culture. And they were thinking that I wanted to introduce something which is not part of the culture. I remember this bag design. I had told them, can you make one tia? Tia means that flower pom-pom. So they fixed one. Then I put another finger basically pointing out, can you make another one? Then they added one more. Then I had to literally point out all the sides of the bag, tia, 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 so that they could basically decorate the bag, all sides of the things. So this was some of my experience from the field visit from the Dongriya Kon. And this is where basically I thought I wanted to study more, I wanted to do more research work, and there's a language beyond design, there are narratives which I want to go deeper and want to study. So this is basically the Dongriya Kon woman, the textile. They count each warp and weft of the thread and basically take the needle up and down. This is done in such a way that basically the fabric looks symmetrical on both the sides. Unfortunately, the design has been translated into woven textile, and weavers are making good business because there's a demand for it, but the community basically, for them, obviously it's not business because they're agriculturists. For them, it is leisure and it is also part of their culture. This is Kapda Gonda, the conch textile. So the circular pattern, what you see is the eyes of the goddess, which protects them from evil eyes. The triangular pattern which you see on the top is Kudlinga, that is the house of the goddess. And the other diagonal lines which you see, those are the farming, basically, symbols of farming land of them. So this, basically, I learned basically that this entire textile is the story of Niyamagiri, the narrative of basically the hills, the nature, and how strong they are about their nature-culture relationship. She is Kadraka Ando. In 2007, I had recommended her name to Delhi Craft Council. I literally climbed 2 hills to get her from remote area to the main city, got the permission from the IAS officer, special officer, got her to Bhubaneswar, then I got her a chappal and a bag, and she could basically go to Delhi with some people and get the award from Delhi Craft Council. I don't have the image of the photograph because it's a very old work. Next, I want to talk about Adivasi Pata, which is from Odisha and Chhattisgarh. I had visited first in 2000 as a student when Dr. Anupam Jain also had visited us. And I want to talk about craft and process here. This is a pitloom fabric, and this is the interlocking technique. And I had revisited here in 2009-10 with the support of Nehru Trust and Victoria Albert Museum. And I continue to work with them in terms of design and also social development. This is an image from the Kotpad village. So there are images from Bastar, Chhattisgarh, and there are images from Kotpad, Koraput district, because the community lives that side and this part of the state also. Here there are some of the images of the local Haat Bazaar, women wearing sari in a completely different way in comparison to the mainstream sari. So they still use a local tool for winding threads. And this is Bastar, where they're using a small, basically they're warping on Pavan. He is Vijay Kumar from Nagarnar, Chhattisgarh. This is another very close view of pitloom. They fix only 2 sarees or 2 shawl at a time. And this is the basically bark of the root from which the color is basically taken out. Only in Kotpad the dye is prepared. And it is the women basically who are preparing the color. It takes around 30 days to take color, to prepare the color, basically grinding it, kneading it, applying castor oil in a cow dung continuously. It's a vigorous work, and it happens only during the dry season, winter season. So you see that deep red maroon color is from the bark of the root. And the technique are extra weft, interlocking, and the motifs are the inspiration from the local surrounding and nature. And you also see similar motifs in other parts of the state, but the strong part of Kotpad is the color. And the color is made by the women. So you can see the drape, how they are wearing. The drape is a short width and also short length sari till the calf length. They just knot it and they wear it for work. And this is also very, very coarse. So I basically was moved by the amount of effort women are doing, because the technique is beautiful, but the dye is only because of the women. So I had requested Delhi Craft Council, can we recommend one dyer, young woman for award, because they also are contributing to craft sector, and they are the only one who have retained the basically natural dye process. So this is Jinu Panika, daughter of late Madhu Panika, who was a great weaver. She received the award in 2018. We had recommended her name to DCC. Next, I'll take you to Koraput in Odisha, where I will talk about documenting the last phase of textile. When you know a textile is dead, how do you document? How do you know the craft tradition? And how does nature, culture, and textiles reflect together? So I named my project In the Pursuit of Kerang, because the Kerang was dead. I knew the Kerang is dead, but I wanted to document, I wanted to know about the community. And kerang is made of the bark of a tree. And when I went from one village to another village, I was told the craft is dead, the textile is dead. This was Sahapedia UNESCO Fellowship 2017-18. So you see how the jewelry, the way they have adorned themselves. Why is this? Expanding. She's a Gadba woman. She's a Gadba woman. These are some of the images from the village. So they have used all natural colors to adorn their house, to decorate here. And this is very, very remote areas. So I had asked them basically several questions about basically the kerang. So everybody that said the textile is dead. So my only way was basically I started drawing, and then everybody who participated, the textile, yes, it was like that. This was the tool it was used, and somebody took out this tool and showed me. And then that's how I started weaving stories from one village to another, because the textile is dead, nobody is doing it. All the women, they have stopped weaving it. But the only way I could find out was basically doing stories, writing stories from one village to another village. And that's how basically I weave things together. These are some of the images of the house. Here basically this man, when I talked about the tools that started drawing, so this man took out the tool to show me, like these are the textiles, these are the tools which are my grandmother did. And everybody had a textile to show that this my grandmother used to do it, my aunt used to do it, because the textile is dead. And this textile also talks about that when they go hunting, they wear this textile so that they can look similar like a tiger, and they can cheat the tiger and go for hunting. So here she's wearing a kerang. Both of them are wearing a kerang, and they're showing me how to wear a kerang. There are two pieces of cloth, which is one covers the top and one covers the bottom of the body. There are some threads, the kerang. Those are colored threads, and the natural color which you see is the bark of the tree. There are only 2 or 3 women. This I was discussing about the textile, and they were basically interested, and everybody was participating. I believed in basically creating conversation and creating stories. This is a small spindle, Ginnera, to create threads. So this is basically a part of my workshop with weavers. And these are some of my textiles I had made with weavers. Again, some of the work with ikat. Here is ikat textiles, more contemporary and modern work. This was basically Lakme Fashion Week. Yes, and this was my textile art installation for Bhubaneswar Art Trail. Here, this was another one. This one is flaming wood, which basically I had presented in Nairobi, and this was part of, which was supported by United Nations of Population Fund, and I had gone with Asian and African artists, and I talked about basically how women we worship the yoni, the goddess, but in reality is different. So I contested, and I created a huge yoni on textile, and I had basically taken 6 panels with me to Nairobi, and I had exhibited there. I want to show one more slide. Yeah. It's not coming. was my basically journey from different states, Jharkhand, Orissa, and many parts also. My journey still continues. So that's it for today. So thank you for listening to me. That was my craft journey. I hope it inspires everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was extremely informative to hear you. And I think a lot of our faculty team also are alumni of this great institute. And for us, it's always such an amazing experience to call someone who is definitely senior and so much more knowledgeable and so passionate about something that we're also enthusiastic about. So ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be giving out the registration kits to our August dignitaries. There's something very special about this registration kit as well. I did mention about how a lot of our faculty are also alumni of the Institute. The kit was designed by one such alumni. It was produced by another alumni, both of NIFT Kangra. We've tried to keep in mind the idea of craft, of making sure that elements of this kit are handmade, are as ecologically conscious as possible, given everything and the way that manufacturing itself works. So in your kit, you will find a beautiful notebook, a seed pen, so that you can grow from everything that we have learned here, a copy of the schedule for the day, along with the campus map, which will have all the information for the various venues of the conference. As you can see, we have a large, sprawling, beautiful campus, and it just helps to have a little bit of a ready reckoner at hand. In the middle, you will find that the schedule for the days are actually mentioned, all the events that we will be doing. I'd just like to take you through them, please. Following this session, we have a small break. The break is essentially for you to explore the campus, to see our Himstroth store, which is a one-of-a-kind experience on this campus, which has a lot of products that are Himachali in origin and are actually sourced responsibly from artisans and entrepreneurs of the area. We do not take any money from them for this. It is just our bit to kind of help them gain a little bit more visibility. So please do make sure that you look at that store, you see, and let us know what you think about it. We have refreshments that will be served in the 4th floor. They're available throughout the day. Our lunch break will be from 12:30 to 1:30, which will be in the A1 block in the ground floor. You can see that highlighted in yellow on your campus map. Could you please distribute the registration kits? Our plenary session will begin as planned at 1:45 p.m. The venue for that is the auditorium. We will first have our live presenters, so please ensure that you have a good meal, come really prepared for that. Following that, we have some submissions in video form. This was a last-minute entry. We allowed for this to happen only because a lot of people were concerned about traveling during with the increase in cases, and still wanted to make sure that their work was presented. So for that reason, and predominantly for NIFT faculty, because we were also involved in orientation activities till yesterday, we made that small provision. Following the 2 plenary sessions, which will both be here, one after the other, we will have a high tea again in the 4th floor. We've tried to localize all of our events to this building because it's just easier. It may rain, it's safer to keep it this way. Following the high tea, there is a poster presentation that will be happening in the 3rd floor of this building. The jury panel will be secretly intimated by the conveners that they will be a part of that event, and they will be the scary people on campus with the notepads and the judgy looks. Sorry? We will reveal eventually. Yeah, oh. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it would take a bit. So the poster presentation, again, lots of good work there, lots of new ideas around craft. We take a break for almost 1.5 hours after the poster presentation if you'd like to refresh yourselves, change for the networking dinner, which is a little bit more laid back, a little bit more about all of us meeting each other, speaking to each other, because we felt that otherwise maybe it was too structured. There is a dress code if it is possible. Please wear your state. Obviously, please try and wear as much of handloom and handicraft as possible, either in accessories or whichever way. Tell us about it. It's always nice. We will have the social media team at that event. They would want you to share a few sound bites. Because we love that you're here. We love that we're being able to do this in the physical mode after so long. And we'd love to really encash it and make it all that it can be. So that's the events for today. If you've had a chance to look through your kits, I'd also like to talk about the 4 themes of the conference. It all started with the idea of connecting communities, because this conference was opened out to academicians, to researchers, to research scholars, to industry practitioners, with the idea that everybody comes with a very different understanding of the craft sector. Everybody comes with a very different understanding of how everyone and everything can come together to play a role. And this range is what we were hoping to really bring to this conference as well. So this is how we were looking at it as academics. However, for people, you need, in the artisan sector today, you need somebody who understands business the way that it needs to be done, management the way that it needs to be done, manufacturing, of course, not to take away the essence of the craft itself, but essentially to try and make the craft a little bit more future ready. And so we thought that bringing various communities that focus on these different ideas together is a great way to kickstart the sub-tracks of this conference. The next one, we thought a good idea would be to curate these crafts, because there are so many types. In fact, there is this wonderful organization called 200 Million Artisans, the co-founder of who will be our keynote speaker tomorrow. And she will tell you about how in the original report, undocumented, there are actually 200 million artisans that create the artisan economy of the country. So how do we actually bring all of their work to the fore? How do we really showcase all that they have to offer? And a great way to actually do that, and a great way to wrap our own heads around the diversity that exists in this sector would be through curating them in a way that makes it easier for people to understand, which is where the idea of curating crafts comes. The third theme is creative interventions. We are a creative institute. We have so many designers, each with their own niche, their own individual stamp that they leave on the scape that is NIFT. So there's so much craft-based product development that happens. It amalgamates design, it amalgamates innovation, and of course keeps the essence of the creative practice, keeps the essence of the craft practice intact, which is where creative intervention takes its root from. And the fourth one was for customizing markets, because we have great products, we have a huge legacy, but where do we really go to sell? And at the end of it, for any business to really be profitable, I think we do look at the balance sheet. So with that, thank you so much for your time. Please let us know how you like Hymn's Throat, let us know how you like the pre-season products in the registration kit. There are refreshments that are available in the floor below. Our staff members, Mr. Sanjeev Dogra and Ms. Priya, will be escorting you through your campus tour if you choose to take it. We will reconvene at 1:45 in this venue. Thank you so much.